seats and directs Electoral Commission to recount remaining ballots. We are live on the ground. Also, Accra Circuit Court remands into police custody National Security Officer stationed at the presidency after he was arrested in connection with the shootings at Ablekuma Central after the elections.
And the suspect pleaded not guilty to those charges read out to him. And thereafter, the counsel for the suspect had applied for bail.
Also in this bulletin, as police and military personnel fend off NDC protesters at the EC premises today, there are increasing calls on the NDC to halt street protest and take up concerns in court. While House of Chiefs worried about ongoing election-related demonstrations, will bring you details of a meeting they're holding. Ghana Journalists Association condemns attacks on media houses over the coverage of election 2020.
On a very serious note, the vertiginous rise and explosive tone of the raging attacks on certain journalists and media houses are unacceptable.
Details as the association applauds the word carried out by the country's media during polls. Also coming up in sports.
Galka boss Kojo Fianu believes the quality of Ghana Premier League facilities is a core issue for the lack of financial support in Ghana's top flight. Details when I join you much later with sports.
We'll hear more from that. Also, we'll hear from Archbishop and founder of the Action Chapel International, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, as he prevails upon all to ensure peace in the aftermath of Ghana's election. My name is Gifty Andoh-Appiah. This is your election headquarters in association with Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. Cowbell Coffee, taste it, love it. Markdown Shipping and Logistics Limited, your total logistics partner. Padeva Limited, your home of modern furniture. DDP Outdoor Limited, serving great brands, and Festiva, adding flavors to your life. With Tria Lotteries, hash 787 star 787 hash, Ghana's premier and biggest jackpot lottery and HEPA Plus mixture for your general well-being. The Wenchi High Court in the Bono region has dismissed the New Patriotic Party's petition brought against the Electoral Commission and the National Democratic Congress on the Sine West parliamentary election. The NPP's parliamentary candidate for the constituency filed the petition to annul the declaration of Sine West parliamentary result. The court described the petition as irredeemably incompetent and also fined the governing party 14,000 Ghana cedis for wasting its time. My colleague Erastus Asari Donko monitored the proceedings. Erastus joins us on the line with more. Hello, Erastus. So what reasons, apart from what we've already stated, did the court offer for dismissing the case?
Well, those are the basic reasons that the court gave. But that is not even the main issue here. Now, since the EC has been asked to go and continue its work, now the three parties, I must say, the NDC, the MPP, and the Electoral Commission have come here with a number of armed security men to the Divisional Police Command headquarters in Techiman. Now, this is where they are supposed to open the box, which contains a padlock with keys in the NPP and NDC. Now, the NDC is saying that they should give them some time to come with their own keys. The NPP says they are ready. If the NDC is not coming, then they should break the padlock and start counting the ballots. I overheard General Mosquito, who is the General Secretary for the NDC, saying that they did not go to court to get counting of the tampered ballot box. But then, so they will not allow the tampered ballot box to be counted as part of what the Electoral Commission is going to do. So let me speak with just one of the NPP legal team, a member of the legal team. What is this whole controversy, which is degenerating into insults and exchanges? What is it about?
Well, it's quite simple. We went to court this morning in Wenchi, and the court ruled that the Electoral Commission should go ahead and then do its work. So it means they have to go ahead and do the counting. So we all came from Wenchi to Techimai, the Divisional Police Command, where we have the ballot box. So we came here to open it and then count. We have a key and then they have a key. But when we got here, the NDC guy who is supposed to have the key, we cannot find him. They claim the key is with Baba Jamal. Baba Jamal is in Accra now. So we are waiting for them to bring the key, and then we will open it and then count, and then we allow the EC to declare as the court has directed. So I don't see why this wants to degenerate into any big argument. So the NDC, I think they should do the right thing by making it available so that we do the counting and then we go.
Well, so that is the bone of contention now. I overheard Mr. Shedin saying that, well, they do not go to court to have the ballot box, which they claim has been tampered with by the NPP man. And so they will not allow that box to be counted as part of this. And so he has since sped off in a vehicle. But the other members are here. Mr. Dan Boche is here. The other members, Colin Zalda is also here. And a number of the NDC team and the NPP team, and has degenerated into heated exchanges here at the divisional headquarters in Techiman.
Erastus, let me just find out. We understand that the court has asked the EC to go count the remaining ballot. So, although the NDC seems to disagree with that, I'm wondering what the decision is, and whether or not they have come to a decision, by the way.
Well, so the court, according to the NDC, did not state that they should go and count anything. That is what they are claiming, that the court did not state expressly in that manner. But the court said that they should go and continue with the process. The legal team of the NPP is still here. I'm trying to get to the NDC members, but that's what the court said. The court declared that they should go and
count. I was in the courtroom. Yeah. I started throughout. And in the first place, I said Ketia did not go to court. The NDC did not.
The court said they should go and count.
No, let me explain. It's explanation that they did not go to court to go and get this relief. It's not true.
I just want to know what the court said.
I'm getting the case. They did not go to court. We went to court. Now the court ruled that the EC should go ahead with the process, yes, and then come and complete the process.
But the court did not say they should go and count. But the process, the counting is part of the process.
From our understanding, elections are over. The only place we had problems was with the counting. So we are here to do the counting and finish. The court did not say anything contrary to what I'm saying. The court said the EC should go ahead with the process and then do the final declaration so that the people of Sydney West can have an MP. So this is what the court said. So if anybody tries to give it a different interpretation, put a twist on it, I think it's part of the propaganda. The court made it very clear that they should go and continue with the process. And the process is doing the counting. So I think that there should be no confusion as to what the EC has been asked to do.
Right.
Okay.
So that is the bone of contention now, and heated exchanges here. Armed military men and police are here to ensure that the process goes through. The EC is also represented here, but it's yet to be seen whether they will both agree for the process to continue and counting to begin and declaration done right here at the divisional headquarters.
Erastus, thank you very much. Erastus Asari Donko there, coming to us live from the court, where you heard that story. I'm taking you back to Accra. Now, Collins Kweku alias Kola, the suspect being held by the police in connection with the shooting which occurred on 8th December at the Ablikuma Central Constituency Coalition Centre, has been remanded into police custody for 1 week. The accused person pleaded not guilty to 6 counts of causing harm, possession of firearms without lawful authority, and using offensive weapons without lawful legal authority. On 8th December, 5 persons, including a police officer and a journalist, were shot at the Coalition Centre in the Ablikuma Central constituency at the Odoko Police Station Church after the suspect allegedly opened indiscriminate fire. In court today, lawyer for the accused, Faisal Sise, who pleaded for bail for his client, contended that his client is a public officer employed as a national security officer at the operations department of the office of the President, Jubilee House. The Circuit Court Judge Emmanuel Esando has adjourned proceedings to Thursday, 24th of December 2020. My colleague Kweku Asante was in court. He has joined me now in studio for more on the proceedings. Kweku, let's begin with what transpired in court today.
Well, so Gifty, in court today, the suspect was brought and then a few other issues came up. But then the delay in starting the case led to, some people complaining. But then when the accused person, Mr. Kola, was brought in, his lawyer was trying to appeal to the court to grant him bail. And that is why some of these issues about his national security status came up and all. But in court, the police officer in charge read out the specific charges, and the court read the specific charges to the accused person. He said he was not guilty of all 6 counts, and then the court proceeded to make a determination from there. But then in court today, the lawyer, while trying to make an appeal for bail, was trying to justify that this is not a person that is flight risk, and so this person will always stay back, and so the court should grant him bail. But then the court was not listening to that, and so that was when his lawyer made some information to the court that Mr. Kula was a national security operative stationed at the operations department of the Flagstaff House, the Jubilee House, I beg your pardon.
And so that was the point at which that information about the accused person's employment status came up.
Yes, and he had been said a few times that he was a national security personnel and was actually a guard of a certain prominent person at the office of the president. But that did not come up. But then the Ghana Journalists Association was in court, and that is when they are saying that one person was shot in the leg.
Who is a journalist?
Yeah. And so the Ghana Journalists Association was in court, and then they tried to say that they are going to follow this case as religious. They're going to make sure that justice is served. Mr. Gifty Andoh-Appiah, the General Secretary of the Ghana Journalists Association, spoke to us.
What briefly happened was that the case was called for the first time, and the prosecutor read out the charges, and the charges were basically based on Section 70 and Section 69 of the Criminal Offences Act of 1960, Act 29. And the suspect pleaded not guilty to those charges read out to him. And thereafter, the counsel for the suspect had applied for bail, pleading that the court should use its discretion, and he used the word unfettered discretion, to admit the suspect to bail. But the judge has ordered that the case be adjourned to next week, a week from today, and also for the suspect to be kept in police custody. So we are hoping and believing perhaps next week, when the case is called again, the judge may pronounce a judgment on the bail application. So we are going to watch this case closely. What we've been made to understand is that the accused person or the suspect, we are told, is an operative of the national security and also a staff at the office of the president. We are only going to follow this case and to ensure that we get justice for, first and foremost, our brother Pius Training, Esiedu, and then the 2 other victims who suffered injury based on the gunfire by the suspects.
And that's Kofi Yeboah. He's the GJA's General Secretary, and still on election-related matters. And also chants by NDC supporters as they protested in front of the Electoral Commission offices earlier today. Police and military personnel were forced to fire rubber bullets to disperse them, many of whom were clad in red and burning ties. My colleague Maxwell Agbagba has been speaking to some of the protesters.
Because the EC stole the election. The EC stole the election.
It's better than being on the street, being chased away by the police. Some of you have been injured in the process.
I'm not saying this for you. I have pink sheets. UN, Mepacha, Mumbre Mubi, United Nations, Mumbre, everyone, all the foreign bodies coming.
And also some of the protesters there. Meanwhile, the Accra Region Police Director of Operations, ACP Kwesi Fori, has been appealing to the agitator supporters to desist from burning tires on the roads and destroying properties.
This morning, action of the youth from Nima came in with lorry tires, petrol, and started burning the lorry tires on a highway. And it was bad. And the police moved in with the water cannon to quench the fire. Again, we saw some buying petrol from the nearby Shell filling station with that same motive, and the police has to do some arrest, to make sure that we are able to be on top of affairs. Our appeal to the youth is that the police is not confrontational, but they should not dare the security services by trying to use petrol and other dangerous liquid by setting fire on the road and doing things that may jeopardize general security.
You have the Accra Region Police Director of Operations, ACP Kwesi Fori. Let me go to Maxwell Agbagba, my colleague on the ground, who is joining me on the phone right now. Maxwell, what is the latest there now?
Well, Gifty, it is getting very chaotic here at the Kentucky Avenue. Now, this is where police officers have managed to push the protesters down to the road. Initially, about 1 hour ago, they had a complete grip of the situation, but the situation escalated again with the agitated supporters moving in, destroying the crash barriers mounted on the road, charging on police officers, shouting, "No John Mahama, no peace, no John Mahama, no peace." Now, at that point, these officers were compelled to move in, and that was when they also started firing rubber bullets to disperse the crowd. As it stands now, they are moving, many of them are running, chasing the agitated supporters who are also running through the alleyways here, getting away from the situation. Police, some minutes ago, managed to get some of them into their custody. Now, that was not smooth, because at the time when they started arresting some of the protesters, some of them got agitated by the situation. They started pelting very heavy rocks at the police officers. And that compelled them also to return the rubber bullets, but managed to get some of them to run to various places. At the time now, scores of police officers are on the streets here in Ridge. The road has completely been cut off the traffic. If you go into the central business district, you cannot use that North Ridge route. All of them, that portion has been cut off. Traffic is not moving, and that has created some traffic situation also on some of the streets in this neighborhood. Just some minutes ago, I'm hearing one of the officers commanding the men to withdraw and to move back to the EC headquarters, where they believe that these persons are running to right now.
Maxwell, let me ask how many of the protesters the police has taken in now?
Well, I saw the police arrest about 5 of them, 5 of the protesters. They took them into their custody. But earlier, some men also who flouted police directive not to use the road in front of the Electoral Commission were also arrested. Their motorbikes were impounded. Right now, another supporter in red and black holding a placard saying that Jimenza must resign. Has been arrested by the police. Scores of police officers have taken into their custody as it stands right now. Military men also patrolling the streets here to make sure that a serene atmosphere is created for persons living here and commuters who use the stretch.
You had Maxwell there reporting that it's completely chaotic in front of the EC's offices here in Accra. Away from that, the National House of Chiefs says continuous demonstrations against election results have the potential of eroding the country's democratic gains. This comes after a series of protests by the National Democratic Congress across the country contesting the outcome of the 2020 presidential elections. President of the House, Ojiahoho Yao Jebi, noted the ongoing protests have heightened tension in the country. Live FM's Nanaya Ojima is covering a meeting of the House in Kumasi and is joining me right now on the line. Nanaya, we understand that the President of the House of Chiefs also reiterated the call for persons dissatisfied with the election results to seek redress by using the laid-down processes. What more has he been saying?
So the House assigned educated parties in the election to respond to the necessary procedure for and treated leaders of various political.
Nanaya, if you can reposition so we can hear you clearly. We're having some interruptions with the network, I believe.
Hello, is it better?
It sounds better. Let's try it once again.
So he's encouraging and teaching leaders of various political parties to also urge and encourage their supporters to remain calm and act within the laws of the land. They have noted the enviable chance of Ghana as a beacon of democracy. to be maintained, and therefore all parties and
Sincere apologies for that sound there. We'll try and reach Nanaya Jima with the details of the stories. Now, 6 presidential candidates in the 2020 elections have urged NDC presidential candidate John Mahama to either accept the result of the 2020 elections or go to court to settle all outstanding issues he has with the Electoral Commission. The 6, who include Hassan Ayariga of the APC, David Apasera of the PNC, and Ivor Greenstreet of the CPP, among others, also used the opportunity to call for peace. There is more in this report.
6 presidential candidates of the 2020 polls: Hassan Ayariga of the APC, David Apasera of the PNC, Ivor Greenstreet of the CPP, Henry Herbert Latte of the GCPP, Kofi Akpalu of the LPG, and Jacob Oseyeboa, who was running mate of independent candidate Alfred Walker, entreated the NDC to seek legal redress rather than resorting to protests.
It was appropriate that as leaders we should come together and add our voice to the request for peace in Ghana, to a request for the reduction in tensions in our country.
And we want Ghana to be free and fair, but peaceful. So we are making a call to all political party leaders, all past presidential candidates, that all the rank and file and supporters of our parties, and all Ghanaians, that we should exercise restraint, exercise caution.
Protest is a form of democratic process, but it's indeterminate in the sense that you may not know what may happen during demonstration. Court, however, is the final place of arbiter where collated figures can actually be changed if there are facts to support that.
I will ask if anybody has an issue with the election, the best place is to go to court and seek redress.
No justice, no peace. But I want you to know, no peace, no justice. It is the other way around. So, we should all be encouraging a peaceful country, a peaceful atmosphere. Let's all disagree with the verdict of EC and let's accept it. It will take us far and we will have a very peaceful country.
You're listening to the Midday News with me, Gifty Andoh-Appiah. Stories gone by as police and military personnel of NDC protesters at the EC premises today. There are increasing calls on the NDC to halt street protest and take up concerns in court. Still to come, the Ghana Journalists Association condemns attacks on media houses over the coverage of election 2020.
On a very serious note, the vertiginous rise and explosive tone of the raging attacks on certain journalists and media houses are unacceptable.
We'll also hear from Archbishop and founder of the Action Chapel International, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, as he prevails upon all to ensure peace in the aftermath of Ghana's elections.
We are still here by God's grace, and the future and the outcome of where we go from here is in God's hands. Pray that peace will prevail.
Fellow Ghanaians, how would you want to end an eventful year?
To stay home,
keep safe, and still have a good time
at the MTN Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols.
Yes, let's climax this year with a bang as we sing and make merry at the MTN Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols. Let's have a jolly good time with the sensational MTN Viva Voices, El Dunamis Choir, MTN Hitmaker Proteges, Curl Songs, Last Mid, Adipa, and the award-winning Kwame Eugene. So, on the 18th of December at 7 p.m., make a date with us on Facebook and YouTube for an unforgettable night. Stay home, keep safe, and enjoy a night of pure bliss.
We day for you everywhere you go.
This Bronya dear, we're going to make every moment special. Whether it's
I see you, Kipo.
There's more than enough drama series to bond over. There is something to keep you.
What are we doing today, man?
Endlessly entertained. You you won't miss the action between.
Nobody will be better. Ronaldo or Messi.
You know go fit rescue you from aunties questions. So
You said when you dey marry now.
that will give you ideas. Choose DSTV this holiday season and make it your moment for only 45 Ghana cedis per month. DSTV, it's your moment.
You're welcome back to the Midday News with me, Gifty Andoh-Appiah. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM and on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, a dozen affiliates across the country, myjoyonline.com around the world. Time for sports now with Baba Tando.
Ghana League Clubs Association Chairman Mr. Gifty Andoh believes the lack of funds for the Ghana Premier League culminates from the poor quality of facilities in the competition. The 2020-2021 Ghana Premier League season commenced on the 13th of November on the back of the GFA's inability to secure a headline sponsor for the league.
Financial injection in the industry of football. We are not getting that. That is why our players are running away to Ethiopia, Kenya and the rest, Guinea. We think that we've reached a point that corporate Ghana, we should not only pay lip service to the passion of the nation. It must be seen tangentially. And also, we must also position ourselves very well to be trusted with money. I don't think your sponsor will be happy when your players are being interviewed on radio for 2-3 months, they haven't been paid. So these are some of the challenges. Getting the right, we are still struggling with the right facilities. You go to some of the league centers, even where we are talking about GPL, some of the playing pitches are still nothing to write home about. These are challenges that I think we should try as much as possible to put behind us.
And that's your sports for now. Now, the Ghana Journalists Association has condemned recent attacks on media houses and some journalists after the recent elections. A number of journalists across the country have become targets of threats on social media and attacks. But GJA President Alfil Moni says the media only presented the outcome of the work of the Electoral Commission, the only body constitutionally mandated to conduct and declare elections in Ghana.
On a very serious note, the vertiginous rise and explosive tone of the raging attacks on certain journalists and media houses are unacceptable. The trend calls for immediate response from our security agencies. The GJA seizes the opportunity to once again express its deepest solicitude with and strongest solidarity for all journalists and media houses in Ghana as we sharpen and maintain an obsessive focus on the safety of journalists.
The GJA president also has some words of caution for journalists.
We urge them to avoid areas and behaviors which may compromise their physical integrity and undermine their professional responsibility. We should all bear in mind that the national interest is bigger than the sum of the ambitions of the political parties and their followers.
Roland Alfil Moni is president of the Ghana Journalists Association. Now, it's less than a week to Christmas, and usually by this time, sales of hampers at the Kumasi Central Market will be high in the air as the area bustles with activity. This year, however, sales have been slow, and traders are attributing it to the high prices of cane baskets. This has in turn also compelled dealers to package products in plastic baskets. Live FM's Anita Sewa Ajoga's report.
The hamper business usually booms during the festive period each year, but it appears the situation is different this year, as traders in the supply chain complain of a relative drop in demand. The price of cane baskets has affected the price of hampers.
The price of cane baskets is really expensive, so we now use the plastic baskets. And this has affected the price of hampers. The cane basket is really expensive. When you buy the baskets at 12 cedis, you will have to sell it at 15 cedis, and it has resulted to an increase in hampers.
Kankan Bwedu is a basket weaver at Edum in the Ashanti region. He has been in the business for 35 years. The 64-year-old man is worried about the difficulty in accessing raw materials.
He says it's really difficult accessing raw materials, especially during the Christmas season.
The weavers are hopeful business will pick up soon. Anita Selwa Ajoga reporting.
And before we go, founder of Action Chapel International, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, said the future of Ghana after the country's just ended elections is in God's hands. Speaking on Joy FM's morning devotion program, Joy Time, in his presence earlier today, he prevailed upon all to ensure there is peace in the aftermath of Ghana's elections.
We are still here by God's grace, and the future and the outcome of where we go from here is in God's hands. Pray that peace will prevail.
You heard Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, and that's it for the news. Our top story. Wenchi High Court in Bono East Region throws out petition by governing NPP to annul declaration of Sine West parliamentary seats and directs the Electoral Commission to recount remaining ballots. We were live on the ground. There's more news at myjoyonline.com. If you do log on, my name is Gifty Andoh-Appiah. We'll leave you with Christ Our Life Giver Part 1 by Dr. Otabel.